Bring the band in. Woo! Well, all right. Yeah, they want me to fit in, but I can't. I'm too different with it. Too advanced to think. You know my intuition. I got bars and ink, but never in a prison. Too far gone, never gonna sit and listen. This is optimism mixed with the best. You get it? What you're seeing is a beast in the flesh. I'm vetted. I don't need to try to speak for the.
やめろやめろどうだな助けに来た男に殺される気分は
Not this again.
鉄十字団に恨みを持つ麻薬刑事さスパイダーストリング格闘技世界チャンピオンスパイダーマン
That's right,
Nice.
folks. That right there is without question a better directed and acted movie than Captain Marvel ever was. Like, seriously. That's right, folks. This is, of course, the MCU'S YouTube channel and podcast. I apologize for the lateness of our live stream. It is all my fault. As usual, my technological capabilities don't live up to the True Knowledge title at times. I have to be honest with you. But I can put it out there that, of course, that I guess, as I mentioned earlier, that is Andre's Tinder profile picture. That fucking metal face deal or whatever, that is Andre's, right? As he was crossing through time, right, back in the day in 1950 or whatever, whatnot. That's what he was getting down with, right? So, you know.
I was a mafia hitman at that time.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you were into some weird fetish, you know, fucking who knows what, like cosplay / like fucking Terminator shit going on, or Predator. Who knows? Who never know. Never know. Either way, folks. Casino, 1995. Martin Scorsese. You know, probably I don't know. I'm trying to think. In all honesty, I was going to ask these guys. I can't think of. I think after this film, I can't think of a real legit movie anybody made mob wise that was based off the formula of The Godfather, of Goodfellas, of those type of films. After this, I didn't really. I don't. What can you guys remember? Anything else? Anybody making anything like that again? Really, or trying to go with that trope?
I mean, it's different. I mean, Sopranos was the closest when that premiered in 1999. So it was basically that.
Ah, but that wasn't the film, though. They never made the film, remember?
Well, that guy Ricci, he sort of did that in his first two films. And then there was other individual. I'm trying to figure out who else did it. Yeah, I mean, Scorsese was always the one that was always the mafia kind of director, that associate, because like he gave you the rules and like what is meant to be in a mafia empire, you know.
Well, Francis Ford Coppola did that actually, and Martin Scorsese it was a part of it, but you know, you got to give due.
Here's the thing: The Godfather is a great cinematic achievement. The trilogy, well, the 2-part, not the third one, but that was very much like a fantasy way of what a gangster is. But with Martin Scorsese, he gave you what was really what was really a main man of what a mafia is, realistically. He was like the Nolan Mafia realistic director, and he gave you the in and out of it very well.
Oh, he gave everybody. He gave them the old in and out. Okay. Well, you know what? That's good to know.
Yeah.
the good old one in and out is usually positive for me. Depending on, you know, whether or not She-Hulk is a part of the equation or not. Anyways, Kendra, what's up? How you doing, hon? It's good to talk to you again. Good to see you. Way to kick ass on the panel on Wednesday night. And of course, you know, Andres is stoked to see you. So I guess I don't have to say, I guess I don't have to bother with my little comment I was about to make fucking with him right now. I'll just save it and, you know, not waste my time. But
Kendra, thank you for coming. It was great that you came in the show. Very excited you're in the chats. So
that's
please,
right.
please.
Kendra's the best. She is the best, without question. And hats off. This is of course the MCU's Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. I and Cyber and Andres are humbled to be here to review Casino. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got some definite contrasting opinions. I've been listening to these two guys go back and forth for like the last 15 minutes. As I've been fucking around trying to figure out basic shit that most people would have done in 20 seconds, so it took me 15 minutes. I listened to them going back and forth. We got some serious contrast here. We're not all loving this shit. Like Secret Invasion episode 2, where Kendra killed it. The whole panel killed it. And Cyberneticshark did some serious moderating duties to the point of like GOAT level, as usual. But no, folks, do us a favor. Support the MCU's Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast, as you always have been and keep on doing. We appreciate all of you. We've made changes. We're going to keep on making changes. But we're going to keep evolving. And hey, big things. Big things, baby. That's all I got to say. Big things. As you see the Secret Invasion in the background, just to show the professionality, as usual, of True Knowledge. Anyways, folks, back to the panel. Kendra, we love you, hon. We can't wait to see you again. Secret Invasion episode 3, baby, next Wednesday night. Cyber, my friend, tell me. Now, you didn't see The Godfather, which is okay. I fuck with you about it, whatnot, but everything. But lots of people haven't seen The Godfather. It's a long damn movie. It's old, So I mean, honestly, but we're going to review it eventually. We're going to get to it. In fact, when I give Andres his choice to cancel out one of my films and do one of his, that might be one. Maybe he'll pick that. We'll have to see. But what do you think? I mean, about you. Obviously, you probably know more about Francis Ford. You know more about Francis Ford Coppola than I do. You feel like this is one of his best?
Well, this is directed by Martin Scorsese.
I'm sorry, Scorsese. My bad.
Anyways, yeah, but Scorsese is a great director. I enjoy pretty much anything he puts out. I always think that he puts a lot of great effort into his films. He's got good writers. He's got good, he's got good thought process. He's got a good idea of what he wants to display. And I feel he really is the king of gangster films. He really is the master, of the gangster filmmakers. So I think he does a good job with that. So I think that he, once again, even if you're not a huge fan of the film or any of his films, I still think that he is still a very solid director that always brings a really good story to light and gives you a really good thing to, something good to really impress you and to want to evolve you into enjoying more of his stuff. So I think that he does a good job of that. He gives us good presentation all the way across any of his films, even if you don't like them.
Most definitely, I would agree. And now, I think, Andres, do I even have to ask you this question?
No, I think not. I agree with Cyber and Say before. I mean, Martin Scorsese is one of the best filmmakers working today. I mean, he has a very variety in his filmography. It's not only he does mafia films, he also does drama films like The Age of Innocence, or a family film like Hugo from 2011, or he's very religious. He's a Christian. If you've seen his films like The Passion of Christ, or recently Silence, the 2016 film with Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver. His actual work is very variety. He's not like Tim Burton, where Tim Burton does the same thing. It's very annoying. But Scorsese, he does everything different each time he does his film. It's great. But yeah, I mean, he's the king of the gangster films. I mean, come on, Mean Streets, Taxi Driver, and of course Goodfellas. And this film. I just want to say that this is the movie that got me into Scorsese as a director. This movie is such a personal film that got me into this director's filmography. that's why I love this movie so much. That's why it's my number one. And I understand people don't like this movie. It's not the strongest, or like
Wait a
it's
minute.
not.
Hold on. I don't mean to cut you off, but can you just extrapolate a little bit on that? What do you say when you say a lot of people don't like this movie? I was not aware that a lot of people didn't like this movie.
Oh, not people don't like it. I say they're like very,
I know people think it's overrated.
yeah, like they're not overrated. Like they're kind of to this film. It's like, okay, I you know I like the film, but I just feel like uh, it's too similar to Goodfellas, which is quite unfair. Like, yes, it has some similar beats, but it's different. Um, and the way the story tells is very similar to Goodfellas, but it's because there's the same creative team that's from the Goodfellas. Like the writer that does this film is from Goodfellas, so I feel like it's quite unfair to compare this to Goodfellas. That's always been the issue with this film, because people compared this to Goodfellas, which is not true. It's a very different beast. Yes, it has the same writer and then some of the same like story beats, but it takes it in a very aggressive and excessive way than Goodfellas did. Goodfellas is, I I consider Goodfellas as a plot-driven film, where this film, Casino, is more of a character-driven film. Like you're inside, like you're with the main characters all the time, from Sam and Nikki throughout the film, and even Ginger. Where Goodfellas is like you're hitting the plots, and that's why it's so good. But for me, this is a better movie because it's a character-driven film. But that's just here that, and I understand people. There's other reasons why, as I discussed with Cyber before this recording, the hour is too long. I get that. The violence, it goes too far, or maybe it's too comedic. I don't know. I'm fine with that. I mean, there's going to be violence in this, Scorsese. So that's my case with this film. But I highly recommend this film. I love it. It's my personal favorite from Scorsese's film. It got me into loving him as a director. But I understand it's not a perfect movie, and it's not everyone's cup of tea.
No, it certainly is not. I think it's a great movie, but you know what? Honestly, now, Cyber, I don't know about you, but what I found, and just to be clear, folks, Cyberneticshark and I, as we rotate moderation, which I struggle with hardly lately at times, from show to show, I'm having issues with it. Starting to cause PTSD for me and everything and whatnot. I'm worried. I'm not sure. I don't know whether I'm moderating or not and everything. It's very lot to deal with. But no, I as we jump back and forth and rotate, I have a different style, and I don't mind opening up movies and whatnot and everything, and talking about the end of them in the beginning. So I don't want this to be jumbled, but at the same time, I want you guys to, the panel, to just be wide open. So I mean, whenever you want to delve any deeper, if you want to stretch things out, if you want to tie things into things that happen later on in the movie, feel free. My questions are going to be more orientated towards specific aspects of the film, the actors, the actresses, that the actual production of the film, the directing, I'm saying, how you thought certain characters worked and how the themes worked, right? So from there, you can extrapolate through the film as you want. And I can tell you right now, honestly, it's funny because Cyber had mentioned to me yesterday when I talked to him that he didn't think it was all that great, Casino. He didn't say it was horrible. He's just like, it wasn't my thing. And then I respect that. I do. Now if you tell me that like Love and Thunder is your thing, then like, hey, I don't really know what to tell you about that. You should probably get your glasses, eyes checked or whatever, possibly. I don't know. But either way, no. So that wasn't in the back of my mind. But I haven't watched this movie since probably 1998 or 97. Well, I'm 40 now. It's 2023. And, hey, I won't lie to you. This movie has a lot of holes in it. I did not notice at 16 or 17 and whatnot. I thought this was great. Right. I thought Sharon Stone deserved that nomination, the Academy Award nomination for Best Actress, and winning the Golden Globe for best actress and whatnot and everything. I really did. I think, although looking back now, I think they just did it basically because they wanted to find someone to reward from the cast. And honestly, if anything, you guys can tell me what you think. I actually think she actually did do a better job acting wise than probably De Niro did and Pesci did. That's just my opinion. Again, I think she actually acted both of them. I do. They should have had her narrate some of the scenes, some of the stuff, because my problem, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, and I'll ask a question off this. I don't think it was a good idea to expose Pesci this much in this film. He got way too much screen time. His narration is not well done. He's not a narrator. Joe Pesci is best in use in films. His best roles are when he only has short 2-minute, 3-minute, 4-minute clips in a film where he can do his impulsive violence deal or whatever, why not also be funny, charming, whatever, right? And then he's out, right? That's pretty much it. And then he'll jump back in and whatnot. Having him actually be 3 parts of a 3-part spoked themed film, right, as the sort of anchors of the storyline, was not a good move, I don't think, by Scorsese at all. I think he was trying to eat off the popularity at that time of the 3 actors themselves, right, and this genre, and just thought that this was going to be a layup. I do. I don't know him personally, but I think he just thought, if I just throw these fuckers together, you know what I'm saying, give him something halfway decent and change things up and add Las Vegas to it, right, with a little bit, maybe some less violence and less mobsters, just one, that this will just be epic. Well, it made money, obviously, it did well, but honestly, it did not get the accolades I think that he thought it would, because overall, it's a uneven film. It is. It's uneven. The pace is slow, and oh yeah, I will too. Believe me, Andres. What are you kidding me? I rather watch Dodge Sleep for 3 hours than watch Love and Thunder again. But no, I'll ask you, Andres. I know you love this movie. I like this movie too. I do. I'm not saying I hate it. I love De Niro. I'm biased with that. But you get where I'm going with Pesci? Because I'm sorry, but like his narration did not do shit for me.
Well, I I think I'll be the outlier for this. Joe Pesci is great in this film. I just think if you don't care for his character, then that's the point. His character is of such a he's such a mean-spirited, like, gangster. He has his charm, but he, of course, over the film, he becomes very sloppy and becomes very crazy of the power that he wants to get, taking over the whole mafia.
No, he was always that person. He just, you know what I'm saying? He just, he'll do anything. You know what I mean? That's his deal. If you X him out of one thing, he's just going to go do something else. But no, what I'm saying is that I'm not talking about his character, his narration itself. I don't think.
Well, I was getting to that. His narration is great. Like, I talked to Cyber just before the podcast. The narration is really great in this film, and Joe Pesci's narration is really good. I mean, some of it is really great with dialogue, and there's funny moments in the dialogue when he narrates. Like, come on, like, you have to admit that when he say "PQB, I fucking see you," it's so funny, or or oh my god, what was the one? Oh yeah, like he was telling about how, like, the mafia, like the what is it, the Chicago outfit, or like just sitting there just drinking coffee, and he's like, "Excuse me, I'm sorry, but that's not how it goes," and it's just so funny how he delivered that. And then I mentioned the part when he gets beaten by his crew, Frank, he talks and then it cuts out. Like, that's great narration. So I have no problem with his narration. Like, narration is great. Like, come on. Like, as Cyber mentioned before, Scorsese works with really great writers, and every main actor has great lines. And Joe Pesci has great lines in this film, and I don't see any problem with that. I see, if you don't like his character, then I cannot help you. I'm sorry.
I like the character. Go to you, Cyber. I like the character. Again, my problem with is that I would have rather seen Ginger and Sam narrate the film than Pesci. And just let Pesci do his thing, be his character. Do you know what I'm saying? Cyber, do you get where I'm going with that?
I understand what you're saying. I thought that it was clever that they interluded both of them doing the narration.
Me too.
I like that. And I didn't have a problem with Pesci's narration. I like Joe Pesci. I think he's fantastic. I've always liked him. Pretty much any movie he's ever in, I always enjoy him. He does a good job. He's super funny. And, he definitely was a interesting character in the film. But his narration, I definitely thought that it was okay. I had no qualms with it. I thought it worked well for the film. Having Sharon Stone do any voiceover, I would not have liked, because I found Ginger annoying as fuck. I hated Ginger. I think Sharon Stone was so overrated in this film, and I don't think she did any good for this film whatsoever. She ended up hitting that kind of that note through the whole entire film that just got on your nerves and nerves and nerves throughout the whole entire film. And she just became annoying. She didn't become interesting. She became annoying or disinteresting, or
her character was wretched.
Yeah, her character is supposed to be wretched, but you still can make that entertaining. You can still make that fun. But she didn't do that. I've always thought Sharon Stone has been a very mediocre actress. Always been. But she has done films where she was really decent in. Like Dialabo, Sliver, Basic Instinct 1 and 2, Total Recall. She was fantastic in those films. They weren't huge parts in some of them, but at the same time, she still was decent. Quick of the Dead is her best fucking film ever. She was amazing in that film.
Yeah.
That was her best film. And to go from doing that, which those both came out the same year, for her to be in Casino and perform like that, and Quick of the Dead and perform way better, just shows I think that she just was trying to over dramatize everything, because this was a drama film. This is what will get her an Oscar nomination. And even though she did get all those accolades, she did get recognized for that. I think that like you said earlier, Jeff, I think they were looking for somebody to give something to. And I think that's why she got all the recognition she did, because the acting and the role itself was not anything special. I've seen better by, in TV shows, American Horror Stories. I've seen better acting by small roles. This just was not her role, I thought. But overall, Joe Pesci, I enjoyed his voiceover. I thought it worked well with the film, and I thought that the interconnection there with Robert De Niro's character and him doing the kind of voiceovers a few points, I thought they did decently.
Now, Andres, do you have anything? Would you like to redirect anything off what Cyber has said?
No, I agree with you guys with the Ginger performance. It's as you say, Jeff. It felt like they just gave that grace to her because I don't know, because this was such a different performance she has done with her films. It wasn't like Basic Instinct or Silver, that kind of sexy kind of role that she usually played during the 90s. So I can get why they gave her that nomination. But I don't I personally don't like her character either, and I feel like she's such a frustration to Sam as a character. I don't understand why they gave her her award. Because she's not sympathetic. Like I don't feel bad for her. I feel more bad with Sam than her. So yeah, I don't understand that. So no, I'm on the same page with you guys with Ginger as a character. She's my least favorite Scorsese character in any of these films. There's better. If you want to compare this to Goodfellas, the Henry's wife, Karen, she's a better actress, and that was a better performance that should have got. I don't know if she got nominated for Best Supporting Actress, but that actress in Goodfellas should have been nominated. But with Sharon, no, I don't think this was worthy of a nomination for Best Actress. It's just weird.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but look, that year also nominated, by the Golden Globes. Excuse me. Okay, well, this was for the Oscars. Now she didn't get the Oscar. She didn't. She didn't deserve it. The
No,
Oscar.
she was nominated.
She was going against Meryl Streep in The Bridges of Madison County. All right. No, I'm sorry, but Meryl Streep can fucking like wash her hair for like, you know, a video for 30 minutes and whatnot. It would be better than like anything Sharon Stone's ever done. Emma Thompson in Sense and Sensibility. Have you ever watched Emma Thompson anything and not be good? I never have.
I've seen that movie. That's great. She's good fun.
No, she's always good. She's always talented. She's just very like she's a very subtle disposition. You know what I'm saying? She's not very like, you know, out there like, you know, as an actress. She doesn't stand out a lot. You know, and then you got Elizabeth Shue in Leaving Las Vegas, which is just, again, wow, holy shit. Cyber, is it just me? I don't know about you, but every time Andres talks, you talk, I look at this shit. I just keep seeing movies I just want to add to the list, man. Like, there's no way around it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're everywhere.
Well, that'll happen because we haven't gone through all 9,346,7,331 films, you know. So that's just gonna keep happening.
I mean, this is intense. If you look at this, like Leaving Las Vegas, man, how can we not review that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and honestly, folks, this is not some kind of like midlife crisis bullshit going on here or whatever and whatnot. I can't help the fact that like I find it fun as hell to freaking rewatch and then review these films that I haven't watched since I was like freaking literally in my teenage years or early 20s, right? Like, and I haven't watched them since. I simply haven't. But, you know, I've never been the type to go back and rewatch films. I don't. Right? Other than MCU films, that's about it. So, you know, I mean, you better believe I go back and watch, you know, Thor 2, right? And Captain Marvel regularly, right? And, you know, of course, who wouldn't? But, anyways, also, Susan Sarandon and Dead Men Walking. All right? I mean, you know, hey, until you go and look, you don't even realize who the hell, you know, actress in a supporting role, Joan Allen and Nixon. These are fucking like literally actresses that like blow Sharon Stone out of the fucking water. You know what I mean? Like literally. Can out-act her on any given fucking day. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude to you, Sharon. I love you. I bang you. But, you know what I'm saying? I'd bang you at casino age or right now. Either way, right? Either way, I don't even care. You choose. Let me know when your OnlyFans is up, and I'll if you want me on there, I'll come on. But maybe we can collaborate with the Bleeding Edge OnlyFans. Braveheart came out that year. Oof. We got Braveheart coming out here soon. That's right. I'm actually working on my PDF finally of our scheduled movies. By the time I get it done, Cyber, it'll be time for us to pick our next round. No, we got Braveheart coming up. Braveheart came out that year. Holy shit. Along with one of the Andre's favorites, The Postman, with Kevin Costner, right? Oh, fuck you, Andres. You know, I love The Postman, dude. What do you? Come on, The Postman's fucking good. Yeah, I mean, come on, don't make fun of The Postman. After Waterworld, man, anything was like epic. Anyways,
that is true. That is true.
Seriously, dude. I mean, come on now. Compared to Waterworld, I thought The Postman was like a big step forward. And what was that baseball movie he did too in the late 90s? That was pretty solid too.
Are you talking about Field of Dreams or For the Love of the Game?
That one, I love that one. Yeah, that's one. I actually like the romance aspect of that film and whatnot with her, what's her name? Oh, okay. I guess Andres dipped out real quick and whatnot. I hurt his feelings. No, I'm just joking. But no, Cyber. You tell me. I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, what the frig? What do you believe that like? And I'm gonna look this up real quick and whatnot and see what some of the reviews were. But what do you think it was realistically? That why did they feel like it was necessary to eat? What was it about what she did with this film or whatever, whatnot, where they felt? Again, we haven't researched this. Whatever, we're not back in this time period. What do you think it was that made them feel like it was necessary to elevate her? Does it possibly have something to do with how many good actresses there were in so many good freaking movies that year?
I mean,
Does that make sense?
I mean, like with all the women that were in movies that year and that were nominated for Oscars, to throw her in there, I just think it comes down to that a lot of the critics were praising her for her role. If you look at some of the reviews, uh, all of them were saying that they thought she was very sharp and focused at her role. She was, um, you know, just was full into the character and everything, and like she possessed the character and gave her all, and that they felt that she just was a tour de force basically. um a lot of the critics enjoyed Casino itself too. They gave it good praise. They ended up giving it 79% rotten fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.2 out of 10 on pretty much every other uh metric meter or at reviewing site. But at the same time, I think having that huge contrast of such talented actresses that were nominated that year, from Meryl Streep to uh Emma Thompson and the others that were nominated. I think that they needed to throw somebody in there that was kind of a nobody, that really had never got any accolades or anything really praised about them before. And so when they saw that she was getting praised for this particular role, I think that's probably the Academy said, well, why don't we throw her in the hat and see who votes for her. So I think a lot of it, just like what Andre said before too, I think a lot of it has to do with that they were throwing somebody in there that was different than all the other people that were there, to try to get some, to get a little different variety there to kind of compete in that category.
Okay.
Yeah, it happens with like a lot of performers. Think about Brendan Fraser when he won the Oscar for The Whales, because it was a different kind of role he did before, and so yeah, it's always like that with the Oscars. It doesn't mean that's your best performance.
Okay. Now, also that year, Pulp Fiction came out, Quiz Show, Forrest Gump, Legends of the Fall. Holy shit, that was a good movie. And
those came out in 94.
Yeah.
Oh, was 94?
Yeah, this movie came out in 1995.
Well, no, I know that. I'm sorry. I thought I was at 95. I guess I screwed up.
No worries. You got Braveheart right. That came out in 1995.
No, you know what? When I pulled up the Golden nominees for 95, I guess it should hit 96 because it's like off by a year or something. I have no idea. Let's see if it works this time.
Yeah. Awards are always the year prior. So if the like, say for instance, like last year when they did the Academy Awards, or this year actually in March, it was 2023. It was all the 2022 films. So it's always a year apart.
Now I'll tell you right now. Now I may be biased with this one. I won't lie. I really like the film, but like honestly, I would have, if it had been my choice, I would have rather voted for Annette Bening, for her role in The American President. Personally, if I had to, I watched every single film out of everything all these actresses that were in those movies that were nominated for for the Golden Globes and for the Oscars. I saw all those movies because back then I used to watch movies all the time. I was a kid, right? I didn't have shit to do, so I just watched movies. And plus, I was a night owl back then too, so I just watched movies or I watched HBO series like Oz, which is always helpful for you when you're 12 years old, right? Watching dudes fuck each other and like rape each other and like kill each other and shit, whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. That was a prison show.
They should make every 12-year-old boy watch that shit. You do not want to go to prison after you watch that shit for a couple of years. Anyways, but no, what do you think, Andres? I mean, you saw The American President, haven't you?
Yeah, I saw that. It's really great. I mean,
Annette Bening was at least worth was at least would it have been merit, or if there had been a debate that maybe she deserved that award?
I mean,
as opposed to Sharon.
That's a little tough. I like her. She's a great actress. There's other performances that I prefer besides American President, but it's close there.
I mean, that was Cyber. That was not her typical. She doesn't usually play characters like that. That was a very from my memories. That was not her normal role.
No, the type of character she still played in American President was very similar to other things she has done before. If you watch her in The Great Outdoors, her character is very similar to her character in American President. If you watch her in even some stuff more recent, in the last like 10 years, she always plays kind of that very strict, very, what's the word? Very straight laced.
Yeah.
I think I'm thinking
very straight laced.
She was in Bugsy. She was in was it Clockers? Not Clockers. What was the one with Cusack? With Grifters.
Yeah.
She was a Grifters, and she was a whore. She was a straight up whore. She was nude like 5-7 times in the film.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like. So that's what I'm saying. It's just that's right. Maybe I didn't mean that's this was a complete contradiction, but in that time period, those movies all came out, didn't they? Bugsy came out in '92, I think.
No, Bugsy came out in '91.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
and then
Grifters came out in 1990.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. All right, so 5 years short. So either way, though, what's your take, Cyber? I mean, I'm not trying to obviously review The American President. We can wait on the merits of that film for another evening. But Annette Bening isn't even nominated. I mean, for anything on the Oscars anyway. I haven't looked yet on here. But like, do you think that that Sharon Stone outacted her?
Well, no, but at the same time, I don't think Annette Bening was anything special in The American President either. So. I can see why she didn't get nominated for it.
No, I'm biased. I like the movie. I do. I like Michael Douglas. So there you go. I'm biased. Best Actress Golden Globes. These were the nominees besides her. Susan Sarandon, Elizabeth Shue, Streep, and Emma Thompson. Same thing as the Oscars. Same list. All right. Now, just as a little bit of a contrast, the Best Actor nominees were Cage for Leaving Las Vegas, Richard Dreyfuss, Anthony Hopkins, Ian McKellen, and Sean Penn.
Yeah, and they're basically were the same as the Oscar nominations.
You know what? I was wrong about Bennings. Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. She was nominated, and Nicole Kidman won. Yeah. Sandra Bullock, Toni Collette, and Vanessa Redgrave were also nominated that year. Wow, what a year, man! Holy shit!
Oh. Because 1995 was a big year for Nicole. That was like her big breakout film. If you've seen To Die For, To Die For is a great film.
Oh wow, that was when To Die For came out. Holy shit!
Yeah, 1985. Yeah, and then of course, she was in Batman Forever. That was in the June of 1995. So that was a big year for her.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. I guess that that movie she did with Tom Cruise a couple years before that didn't really do much for her overall, huh?
Eyes Wide Shut.
No. That was later on. I'm talking the one that was like epic and long.
Was it Days of Thunder or something like that?
No, it was in Australia. Wasn't there something? Where was it based, Cyber? That one where they made together?
Far and Away?
Yeah, Far and Away.
Yeah.
How about a boring ass movie?
Never saw
it. Near die. I just know that's where Tom and Nicole met.
I'll make sure that Andres picks that for his movie that we review. But
no, I'll choose Batman Forever over.
This is the shit I don't get. We talked about this earlier in the studio already, but briefly. How does it make sense that Sam? They tout throughout the film. Pesci narrates and talks about this. How literally he's like a mad scientist when it comes to gambling. You know what I'm saying? Like a computer. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like the research he would put in when he would gamble and bet, right? And everything and whatnot. And the depth he would take, level he would take it. Like pre-internet days, right? Because remember, we're talking, in the beginning, the intro scene we get is when he gets, the car bombing in 1983, which is way back, later on. It's towards the end of the actual film, and so we're talking at that point in the beginning of the film when he actually gets hired at the Tangiers or whatever it's called there, the casino. That's got to be what I think the 70s, early 70s, late 60s,
73.
73. Not a bad guess. But either way, obviously they hire him because of his acumen at that point, right? That's the whole reason that they give him this job. He's so meticulous, right? And like so well known for like, doing good business. At that point, if you know a chick is addicted to drugs, been pimped out, right, by a dude, you know what I'm saying? And the dude like straight like pimped her out, like back in the day, pimped, like owns her, right? And she's a straight slut too. And he admits later on in the film that he knows that. He's always known that she was going to bang other dudes. He always knew it, right? It was going to be part of the deal, that she's promiscuous and everything and whatnot. Well, it makes no logical sense whatsoever that he would then give her that fucking key to that $2 million plus with all the jewelry and all that other shit too, and tell her no matter what, he'd take care of her. Like, come on, man. Andres.
I mean, so here's the thing. So Sam, he's a very like, what's the word that Joe Pesci's Nikki say? He's a stuck-up, Jew, but he it's just like it's a boy from like it was first love at first sight.
Well, no, well, hold on.
And also, wait, listen, Mr. True Knowledge person. If you listen to the dialogue, he say he could change her. That's the thing. He thought he was going to control her and change her for good, which was never true, and he did not change her at all. So that was his mistake. So he talked about trust. It's like, who you cannot trust a.
You're right.
They
do set that up in the beginning. He literally says if you love someone, you have to trust them.
Yeah. So that's the fault of Sam. He trusts her too much, and guess what? He got fucked up. That's what happened. So
I get your point. I think Cyber does. I think you agree. You would agree too. I think Andre's point would be that he believed in the movie that by giving her this trust and this faith, extending this faith to her, having a child with her and whatnot, believing in her, somehow that would actually change the core of her. And that's noble. It is, right? It is noble. And now let me ask you though, Andres, and I'll ask you, Cyber, do you think that Sam was a little bit like, his head was a little big at that point too? Because of his success and whatnot, everything. I mean, and the control and the power to where he felt like he could just kind of just where things would just go his way, right? Because again, he's in Las Vegas back in this time period. He could have probably found hookers that would have been more trustworthy, right? To marry like spontaneously, that would have been more like worthwhile and trustworthy than Ginger.
Well, I mean, it's like it was. I mean, Sam, like, he was into the power, but he say himself that he wanted complication in his life, complicate his life. So just, hooking up with Ginger was the thing, like he didn't care. Like he just threw himself onto her, and with all the power he had, he was going to do whatever he wants for her, That's what he did. So that's the point of this movie. Excess.
So basically, he's a sap. So he's just a sap then, basically, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but like a good sap. I mean, he hey.
Yeah. That's possible. It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, so but like I don't know. Like it's just fascinating because Sam, he put that on her, but then he asks a lot for her. For her to trust and then start a family, which like that was not what Ginger wanted. As she said before, she was a working girl. So like I don't know why Sam was so fascinated with this girl. So
no, and she even warns him, right, Cyber? She even warns him, doesn't she? She's like, hey, like you can tell in her voice the way that she tells him, she's like, Sam, you understand I'm not with a wife material, right? Like, I'm saying? I'm not a mother.
Like, yeah, throughout the Throughout
Yeah.
the whole entire film, she makes those points and several of her tantrums, and so I mean, yeah, she definitely. I mean, from the get go, she proves that she is, a liar, a habitual, person that is going to take advantage of you type of deal. And so just like Andre was saying, why would you end up marrying this woman? Why did he give access to this key and all this kind of stuff? Yeah, it just makes absolutely no sense. So, but love makes us do crazy things. So I can understand it from that perspective.
Yeah, same. That's what it is about. It's just he fell in love with her. He didn't care. He just put so much of his money and power to please her, which end of the day, that wasn't enough for her. So that's what happened. Well,
I mean, realistically, they didn't. I think it would. It would have made more sense for me in the movie. It would have had more impact for me, and worked better if they didn't really. He didn't set her up well as something to me where I myself could put myself in Sam's shoes and see her and be like like hardcore attracted to her to that level, right? Just because she fucking is in the casino one night and like toss some shit to some dude or whatever and take some chips and throws them in the fucking air, like I mean, it looks cool and it's a good scene, good shot and everything and whatnot, but that's it, like that's all we got. That was it. And then after that, like it was like okay, and then it was like he was enthralled with her, and now we find out that she's like a crackhead with a pimp.
Well. I mean, she's obsessed with a pimp is like obviously using her, but because
that's what pimps did back then. Yeah,
exactly.
Pimps. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know that they're any that different now, but back then, pimps did the real shit, real dirty shit.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, Sam narration talked about Ginger. We got a montage of her doing her job, so he's impressed of how she can handle. Like you see her giving out money to take care of her parking. Taking care of the bookies and the pimps in Las Vegas. So it's like he's very impressive how she's because she helps give Las Vegas money. That's the thing. She's part of this another equation of the outfit that is controlling the Vegas. She's another part that helps out making more money for this crime organization. So that's why Sam is so infatuated with her because not only she's beautiful but she's also smart like him, but in a different way, and that's why he loves Ginger so much. But then that's the downfall. It's like she's like the worst aspect of Sam. She doesn't have any humanity or common sense like him.
How does she's not into the mob. She doesn't.
No, not in the mob, but
Like I mean, it bangs her, but like
yeah, but like when I say different equation, she's not part of the mafia when they're making money. She's a different equation where she's helping unintentionally with the mafia to make money. She's helping out all these scumbags and lowlives and all these gamblers. To get what they want, like drugs.
She's or too, right, Cyber? Like that's the thing about it is that like some people might not realize that during the film at times, but she's a straight hustler the whole time.
100%, yeah. Through the whole film, she's somebody.
Yeah, she's not some like innocent, now I think I thought about that when I was watching this. I was like, you know what? When I was younger, when I watched this, I thought she was innocent. I utterly thought that, like, I did. I thought that, like, that the shitty, pimp boyfriend or whatever, whatnot. Of course, where now if they would have had Woods narrate Pesci's shit and just had Pesci act, that would have been better. Personally, I would like that better. But that's just me. I like James Woods, but no, I thought the pimp boyfriend was basically like hustling her, right? You know what I mean, whatnot, and like that she was just like a drug addict. And just promiscuous or whatever, right? And like wounded or like had been treated badly or whatever. And that's why she was fucking dudes out of just like, out of like impulsivity almost, or like pain. You know what I mean? Whatnot, people do that, right? So I mean, it's normal. It's human emotions, sometimes can be like that. But in all reality, I see it now. she's working angles the whole movie. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's working Nikki, right? Like, she's just, all she's doing is setting up her spot, right? And like, you know what I'm saying? And trying to gather information and whatnot and everything for herself. She ain't even really, like, honestly owned by freaking her pimp, Lester. Do you think, Cyber, that maybe that aspect of her character, the fact that there probably are other people like that are even older than me as a teenager that still didn't maybe realize that, like, she wasn't as vulnerable as she portrays herself as?
Player, she knew exactly what she was doing because you saw all the different scenes and all the different, things that she did after she had certain fits, stuff like that. I mean, a great example would be like after that one fit she has with Sam, and the next day she's going to see Joe Pesci and then bringing home groceries and stuff like that. Like, she knows exactly what she's doing. She's just playing the card because she's so high as a kite. She's trying to keep that drug mule going. So it's all in her mind. Unfortunately, drug addicts, unfortunately, they think a certain way, and when that impulse doesn't work anymore, they have to use some other form of thing to get what they need. And so that's kind of what we see throughout the whole entire film, is we see Sharon Stone's character go back and forth from doing what she needs to get what she needs. And so in order to do that, you have to have some sort of thought process already going of knowing what you're doing. And so, and I mean, from the get-go, she made that a point, like everyone has said. She knows that what she was doing. She says that she's doing these things, so she does know that, and it's all a part of her game of getting what she wants.
That's true, and you're right. When you're addicted to drugs, right? I mean, even if you are trying to hustle and like you are like, basically like a straight hustler for life, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's all you do. You just play angles. You're still going to be erratic and fuck up, you know what I mean? Whatnot. And like, make mistakes and like you are going to end up vulnerable and whatnot and everything, I would assume. When I've been around like drug addicts and whatnot and everything, like, they can go from being one person for like an hour to like a completely different human being an hour later. Right? Like, literally. And it's fucking shocking at first. The first time it happens, you're just like, what the fuck? Apologize for that, folks. But no, in general, besides Sharon Stone, I don't want to make it like, well, thank you, Kendra. We appreciate you. The more you talk for the comment section, the more we miss you, especially Andres, your BFF. But no, basically the premise,
co-workers. Co-workers.
Listen, no one is trying to interject or like put out that there's some sort of like unprofessional something going on, behavior going on. Don't worry, Andres, you're okay, buddy. You're
why me? Because I'm single and I'm young. What is this? Oh my god. Anyway, continue, Jeff.
You sound guilty, man.
No, you put me on the spot here. I'm like, what the fuck?
And yes, Cyber, I did notice the MCU's Bleeding Edge hat, by the way. Did you think I didn't see it? Were you gonna wait? Were you just like waiting for your chance to like Jeff, you notice this?
His hat is Cyberneticshark, dude.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
This was Cyberneticshark.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? There you go, folks. Just to give you an idea of just to give you a firm understanding of what drug addiction will do to you, right? Obviously, I mean, that's not the MCU's Bleeding Edge. So there you go. See? Can't even read, when you're addicted to crack and, and sand and all that kind of whatever, So, anyways, here comes Kendra to fuck with you, Andres.
No, I'm sorry, Kendra. I'm sorry. I'm not denying.
Look at him stuttering. Look at him stuttering.
Excuse me. I don't want.
Waiting for Pesci, Andres. Rough, bruh.
No, thank you. Please. No, I'm no Joe Pesci. I'm more of a Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man level person. Anyway,
All right.
so
Go ahead.
Kendra,
Go ahead.
just
I'm sorry, Andres. Go ahead.
yeah,
Address Kendra.
Kendra, just don't listen to Jeff. He's a jerk. He doesn't know his true knowledge of me. So yeah, don't worry, Kendra. We're best friends. I just like to keep it professional in this podcast now, and I don't know why we're sidetracking here.
Well, anyways, it's always nice that the Bleeding Edge is encouraging friendships. And I gotta give Andres credit. Usually, I'm the only one that busts myself on the true knowledge shit. Andres already got me twice on that shit so far, and it's only been less than an hour. So, Andres, you're killing it, bro. You know what I mean? And to think I was worried about you. No, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, guys, the movie is very simple. Cyber, you probably would be able to do this right off your head, but I'm gonna pull it up too. You guys were also talking about earlier. I was listening to you talk about the fact there's actually a lot of really well-known and like really like solid actors and actresses that pop up, more actors that pop up in the film in very small roles, not even cameos, they're just like side character roles and whatnot, right? Cyber, who is the actor that plays Sam's second in command at the casino that he brings with him from like up north? Oh, I'll pull him up. I've got
That's Don Rickles.
Don Rickles, yeah.
Yeah,
Don Rickles, yeah.
and he's played Billy Sherbert.
Yeah, Billy Sherbert.
Yeah, he passed away a few years ago, I think. It was really sad. He's great. I like his character. He's a great second command. I hate when Joe Pesci, Nicky, like beats him up with the phone later in the film. I was like, oh my, come on. He's just doing his job. You know him. So yeah, he's a great character. If you see, he's a great comedian too. Don Rickles. He's a good comedian. This is like, I guess a rare serious role. I'm not too familiar with his filmography, but like this is a good role for him. It's great.
No, Cyber knows. I've seen him portray like himself as serious characters before too, and whatnot, and everything. I've seen him. I think anybody that's in our age group should know that, like, some of his material from back in the day. He's a really solid actor, and he is funny as shit too. But no, Cyber, I thought he was a really great addition. The casting I thought was really solid. Right. If anything, James Woods. I think James Woods' flexibility is great. He can really be pretty much anything. He can be fucking like really like he can be a disgusting, unethical pimp. Or he can be like or like a more ethical hero type character. He can be pretty much whatever, and he can be funny. But no, who else is in there, Cyber, that pops up?
Kevin Pollak, Frankie Valli.
Yep.
Martin Scorsese's mother's in it. You had Jane Meadows in it. You had Vinny Vella. Alan King, Dick Smothers, and like I was mentioning to Andre earlier, John Bloom, who plays Don Ward in the film. That's actually he goes by the name Joe Bob Briggs, and he does his thing on Shudder called The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs, and they review 2 films every night, every Friday on Shudder that are horror films. And he's been doing this for like 30 plus years. He actually had Monster Vision back in the day. And he actually has quite a bit, a good piece in the film of him talking to Robert De Niro. So, this was a pretty big role for him back in the heyday. So, if you haven't checked out Joe Bob Briggs, definitely check him out. He's so awesome. Love the guy.
We've talked about it before, Simon, before the past and whatnot and everything. And honestly, I tell you, off note from the review folks, doing these movie reviews and everything and whatnot, and all the TV series we've covered and everything and all that, and of course all the Marvel Disney stuff, Disney Plus stuff we've done, all the Marvel reviews we've done, which we still have. Cyber, I almost forgot for a minute there. We still have to wrap up Infinity Saga. We got a couple more films left, right? Where are we at? I think we have one more film for Infinity War, right? An Endgame.
Last movie we did was before Black Panther.
No, we did Black Panther, wasn't it? We did Black Panther.
I don't think we did Black Panther yet.
Oh, we did. We did it with Kevin from Rumble. Remember, you know Kevin? We haven't had him for a long time. Remember, he was on the Shield review that I missed because of the hurricane. When you guys pulled down the highest Facebook Live numbers we ever pulled on Facebook when I wasn't on there. You guys like, yeah, Andres.
Yeah, whatever that was, I don't care.
Wow.
It was
I don't remember doing Black Panther. I don't even remember doing Captain Marvel yet.
Oh, we did Captain Marvel. We did it right off the bat, right from jump. Because remember, we did it in the MCU timeline order. So we did Captain Marvel. We did the first.
What you need to do is you just need to go back and look at all the ones we've done, and then that'll tell us where it is.
I know. I will.
Yeah, instead of talking about it, let's go back to Casino.
Yeah.
No, but anyways, isn't that awesome? When I wasn't there for the show, and it was Cyber moderating with Renee and Kevin from you know Kevin before, but Kevin and whatnot.
Okay.
Pulled down fucking 25,000 fucking like live stream views on the fucking episode and whatnot and everything. The best we've ever fucking had. So good job, Cyber. Oh, you know what? It's awesome, Cyber. A fucking creator the other day mentioned to me whatnot and everything about the whole having to delete the Facebook page and restart it thing. He's like, bro, why didn't you just freaking like automatically reach out to all your followers and give them the link to your new page, right? Like before you deleted it. I'm like, oh man, that probably would have been smart. Anyways, you know, I'm like, yeah, man, we should have thought about that. But anyways, no, you know what? We're starting to catch back up on Facebook, which I'm actually happy for. But now, as far as Casino goes, there's some. I mean, there's some pretty decent secondary characters. But really, the movie is anchored overall, you know, again, by like the three spokes of the film, and then, you know, like Woods, you know, sort of being a part of it too, as much as Rickles. And essentially, it's just it's a very like, it's not a complicated multi-layered film at all. It really just sort of, to me, has a really non-exciting pace where there's really no ups and downs. It's just kind of like a slow burn the whole movie in a way. I'm not saying it's not fun or it's not like decent or anything. I'm saying that it's just like nothing really gets me like excited or like surprises me or really, or you know, it doesn't have like big peaks and valleys or anything. It's even. But I didn't feel like the second and third parts of the film really were as good as the first part. Now, Cyberneticshark, sir, would you agree or disagree with me on that premise? That I believe firmly that I think that the first, if you break into thirds, I think that first third of the film is better than the second and third.
I mean, I would have to say yes and no. I would say yes because I really agree that one of my favorite scenes in the whole film was the Joe Bob Briggs scenes, and which was towards the beginning of the film. So I have to say yes. I would say yes to that one. But I would say overall, I thought all three pieces of the film were pretty even all across. With story wise, acting wise, and just where it went. I felt that it, like me and Andre were talking about earlier in the before we got on the live, saying how it was very evenly paced throughout the whole entire film. There was definitely some scenes where they could have shaved down, but there was definitely, I feel, all three sections of the film, if you wanted to split it up that way, I felt that they all still were pretty equal in their viewing pleasure.
Definitely did not have to go almost 3 hours long at all. Did not have to go like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I have to agree with that. I'm never really heavily in favor of cutting things off of movies, right? Even with the Batman, I wouldn't want them to redo it or whatever, whatnot. They did what they did with it. It is what it is. But like, yeah, I think we all would agree that they could have probably shaved 20 minutes or 30 minutes off of the Batman. It would have been a lot better film. But Andres, same question. You guys think about it. You heard Cyber.
Yeah.
My premise is very simple. I think for me, I felt like the first third of the film was probably better, and things started. Let me phrase it like this: I felt like the movie digressed from there. It didn't like escalate; it digressed. Like I understand that like the story is for it to digress, right? To break down,
yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like that being presented to us was not a pot, like an upwards spot, right, or place from that first part.
No, I can see what you're saying. I disagree. I think it just happens in a very like character driven way. Like again, like it's not like Goodfellas where you got the rise and fall. Like you saw the fall of like the gang that
Well, Goodfellas also has an ensemble cast, everything whatnot too.
yeah,
So
exactly. So we're here, we're following these three characters, and we're not seeing like Vegas. We see Vegas afterwards taken down and turned into a Disneyland, as Sam said before. But uh, the fall is really Sam and Nick and Ginger. Like that's the important thing in the film. You see how Ginger was getting arrested, and then she died overdose, and then you look at Nicky. His fall was he was completely out of Vegas. He was already in trouble with the mafia and the police. And guess what? The outfit told his gang to kill him and bury him. Sent a message to the other family and other people. And then you look at Sam. Guess what? Sam is no longer in Vegas. He almost got killed. So he went back to where he started as a bookie or a hustler again, but no longer in Vegas. So it's just the fall. Like the story is great. Like the premise of in Vegas, the mafia trying to control Vegas and taking their money. It's fascinating, and you see that in detail.
well, the mafia did control Vegas and did
Yeah.
control the casinos for decades. I mean, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
exactly.
you know that, right, Andres? The
Yeah,
mafia
yeah,
built the casinos and the strip and everything and whatnot. Without their money,
yeah.
I don't know, but like that's how it
Yeah.
happened.
Well, and that's the thing I love about this movie. We see that full on. We see that with these three characters, and they tell us what's going on, why the mafia is controlling Vegas. So I think the premise here is really strong, and then I think the Scorsese like executed very well in this film. Now, the thing is, it's up to you if you're invested with these characters. That's the thing. I'm invested in these characters, and I think the three acts in this film, the three pieces, as Cypher mentioned, are really great because they tie into our characters that we're following in the film. If you like them or not, that's the thing. So
Now, Andres, you mentioned earlier in the studio that you think that the soundtrack for this is great, right?
yes,
That, you think it's really good. And listen, sir, again, that's your opinion. I'm not saying I think it's horrible. Would you be of the same accord in terms of how Scorsese deals with and portrays the passing of time, right? Like literally throughout,
yeah,
the film, in terms of representing to the audience and translating like that years are passing by, right? Like,
yeah,
through the music or through through images or through like iconic brands or whatever it is that usually typically would tie you in as an audience member when you watch
yeah.
a movie where time is passing, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like the soundtrack does that, conveys that effectively?
Yes.
I didn't
Yeah.
think it did.
Oh, so it didn't for you. Okay.
Yeah. And do you feel like it was handled in a way where you really felt like you really grasped how much time was passing throughout the film? Like you had a good sense of how many years were going by. Like, did you feel like you were in that place?
Okay. All right. So to answer all that, I 100 agree with that. I mean, Scorsese does a really good job of using music to tell his story. He will tell you what time, like the time period we're in. Like, so Scorsese picks very good music to tell you what kind of time period we're in the film, but also the mood of our characters. If you remember when Sam like looks, first meets Ginger, we have the song "My Baby" by I think the members the something, and that song is conveying love and first sight. That's the point of that song during Ginger meets Sam. So the soundtrack there is really great. It tells you not only the time period but also the mood of what our characters are feeling. Like if you remember when Nikki is meeting up with Sam about what Ginger did in the film. Of course, her taking Amy and being with Lester. We got the song from the Fleetwood Mac song, "Go on Your Own Way." That song is very crucial in that scene because it tells you Sam wants to go his way of trying to handle the Ginger situation, but you got Nikki telling Sam to do this other way to not escalate the problem and try to get Amy safe back to Vegas to Sam. So I think Scorsese does a really good job of picking his music and like telling the story of what the characters are feeling. So I think the soundtrack really works. It's like you think about the soundtrack, like a lot of these songs are not what you hear in the radio. So if you don't like the picks, it's like that's Scorsese. He picks these songs, so that's really up to you. So, but yeah, and then what was the other one? What was the last part, Jeff? You were saying,
I was saying, do you feel like you're cognizant throughout the movie and you're aware by how things are portrayed to you and like the soundtrack just in general, that you have a good sense of how much time is passing and what I'm saying, and they effectively portray the passing of time, because a lot of years pass.
Yeah, well,
right in the first 75 to 70% of the film.
Yeah, well, the one thing that Scorsese does well is the costumes. I didn't bring this up with Saber, but the costumes here are great. Sam has one of the most huge suits ever. Like he has one of the most over exaggerated man suits he ever wore, and the haircut that Ginger always has. Like you can tell the passage of time when a character's hairdo is going to be long and then short. Like Scorsese tells you when the passage of time is happening. It's either by the clothing or by probably the physical appearance of our characters. Plus, Scorsese does put up the time titles. Like we know we're in 1973, and then I think when we get to the commission court, about his gambling license, it says 1981. So we know, like he does drop, dates, when it's important. So he does a good job with that. So I'm not always lost when we're like doing passage of time. Also, Nikki, if you pay attention, this is a small detail. His hair, you see it gray, straight, so it tells you we're like in a couple of years away with this character. So everything, it's all by the costumes, the makeup, and pretty much the random how you say it, tile sequence telling you what year we're in now.
Are
It's
you wearing
always
your makeup tonight, Andres? By the way,
what do you
are
mean?
you wearing your makeup tonight?
I mean, no.
I'm with you, man. What's up?
I,
Anyway,
I mean, I wish I have a makeup team, but I can't afford that.
well, I wouldn't even
So,
know how. I wouldn't know how to put makeup on. Somebody would have to teach me. So,
yeah.
maybe Michelle, maybe Sharon Stone will.
Yeah.
Although I'd rather be Elizabeth Shue, to be completely honest with you. I'll tell you right now, too. Leaving Las Vegas sounds like a great film to review. But Cyberneticshark, sir, taking into consideration the time period, this being the mid '90s and whatnot and everything, did you feel like no, this Cyberneticshark, this was your first time seeing Casino, right?
Correct.
Now, I only mention that, folks, because Cyber pretty much has what would the term be properly, Cyber? You're like a filmologist almost in terms of your collection and whatnot, how many movies you've seen and whatnot and everything, right?
Yeah, I mean it's basically a film enthusiast.
Okay, wasn't sure if there was
Same
that.
here. Same here.
No, but Cyberneticshark, he probably would be able to explain it better than I could. But essentially, he's been covering film and TV for what, Cyber, like almost 15 years now or some shit?
I mean, 20+ years.
Okay, my bad. I apologize. I try. You know what I'm saying? You know, I was close, right? There you go. But no, what do you call it? No, but Cyber is more of it has more of a cinematic background and brings more of a understanding of the entertainment industry and the more of the refined aspects of film, of TV, whatnot, and everything. You know, in terms of production and the names behind the names and the directors and whatnot and everything. Right. Some of the stuff that I don't really know that much about. And so I've seen lots of movies, you know, just not as many as Cyber. Although Cyber's got to give me credit, though. I've been sending him pictures lately, showing him these 4K DVDs I've been buying. When he told me to stop buying the cheap ass $8 like versions of movies and shit and whatnot. Right, Cyber? I'm doing better, right?
Yeah, some of them are Blu-ray, but most of them are still DVDs.
I'm trying, man. Come on. Anything's an improvement over what I was getting before. But no, but so what do you think, Cyber? For one thing, what do you think about the soundtrack? I mean, I like some, of course I like some of I love the Rolling Stones. I like some of those songs, whatnot and everything. I'm just like I told Cyber earlier, I just before you came in the studio, I didn't feel like that it matched the film at times and the scenes. I didn't think the songs really connected at the level like that hits it for me. Could you address that, Cyber? And then also, Cyber, what's your take on the whole narration issue, like, you know, perspective of the film, you know, the decision to go in that direction, right? And then just have that dichotomy of the, you know, Sam and Nikki narrating, then having scenes where they're not non-narrated, it's just, you know, played out, right, for effect and whatnot with other characters, you know what I mean? And then they go back to the narration.
Well, I mean, with the narration, that's pretty typical in films. I've seen a lot of films that have had narration in them, and you know, it can be good, it can be bad, you know. And with the Casino, I mean, I think it's decent. I don't have any problems with it. I don't have any qualms with it. I think that it did what it needed to do for certain sequences of the film, and them going back and forth, you know, having the narration and no narration, I think played very well to its, you know, to what it needed to do. And you know, I like that. We were talking about this before. That I like it that it was back and forth between the two giving narration, and I think they're the two perfect characters to tell the narration because the story is based on their true life. Because the character that Robert De Niro plays, Sam, the character that Joe Pesci plays, is based off of what the book that this is based off of was about. It was about their true story, their lives, these gangsters' lives. And so them to have them do the narration makes sense because they're the two that the main story is about. The Sharon Stone character, I don't know how much that actually played into the actual storyline, but at the same time, you don't really need the aspect from how she viewed things versus how, you know, Sam saw it. Like, because it's more about, you know, Sam's character, his evolution, and him, what the things that he dealt with in his evolution, and that happened to be that Sharon Stone character. So the narration, I thought, was done well. And what was the second question? I sorry.
Oh, God, Cyber, what the fuck? The second question.
What was the first part of that question before you
man,
said the narration?
Jesus Christ. Oh, this. What did you think of the soundtrack?
Oh, the soundtrack. That's right. Okay.
Do you think did you think it fit well with the scenes and whatnot and connected for you? Did it hit for you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you understand what I mean? Like, you know, did it hit?
Yeah.
Where it hit?
I honestly really don't remember the soundtrack for this film. I really wasn't paying attention to it.
Yep.
And the reason I think that's the reason being why is because the music I did feel was kind of out of place. They didn't really play a lot of the actual songs from that era. Like, I think a lot of those Rolling Stones songs that you guys are referring to are not from the 70s. They were from the 60s.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the other songs were from other eras, you know, that weren't related really to that
None
film.
of them related at all to, yeah, I didn't get any of that.
Yeah, so I would say that the soundtrack itself was not anything spectacular for me. like I said, I don't really remember the songs from the film. I wasn't really paying attention. I was paying attention more to the dialogue and what they were talking about and kind of the storyline. So sometimes some films, the soundtrack really pops out in certain sequences. And in this film, it didn't do that at all. So I think, yeah, most definitely, I don't think this has the greatest soundtrack. It didn't really place itself really well like some other soundtracks are. Uh,
Uh-oh.
and be so much better, can make it so amazing, and can make it just elevate the film so much by giving such great music in certain sequences where the music is very prominent to go along with the action of the scene. So I think that, in this case, soundtrack did not help this film at all.
Which Andres, I don't believe that it was Scorsese's purpose to try to like make the music to be of that like Cyber said, like stand out or whatever, right? Like
No,
I
no,
don't think he was going with that direction with the soundtrack.
no,
But Goodfellas though, like that's one thing about Goodfellas, right? Is that the Goodfellas soundtrack really fucking connects, like what I'm saying, with the scenes, right? And like the transition of time. That's where I was going with this long term. That's why I started this theme, is because I wanted to do a little comparison. And like Goodfellas, right? Now I haven't seen Goodfellas in a long time, but if I remember correctly, the songs hit on in that movie, right? Like a lot of the songs fit right into like that year, or that year area span, right? And they can, and that, if you're of a certain age, you realize that. Andre, I got nothing but props to you, brother, for digging back and shit like that. When I'm telling you right now, through my dad, listening to Fleetwood Mac when I was like a kid, around like probably 13, 14, 15 years old, was like actually something that probably like changed my life, to be honest with you. When I their greatest hits and everything and whatnot. It's actually one of my, like, honestly, of all the bands out there that I wish I could have seen live and never will, it is Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah. Yeah, you brought up the soundtrack for Goodfellas that hit you the right way. That's the same thing here, but just differently. I mean, the music here is very loud, like, and very excessive. That's the point of the music in this film. That's why it doesn't like hook you like the way Goodfellas soundtrack does. Because it's not like, for me, the music here in Consume doesn't tell you about the time period. No, it's more about the mood and the feeling of your characters, what they're feeling in that scene. As I mentioned before, when Sam is first time meeting Ginger, the music's playing, "Be My Baby." It's telling you, oh, this is love at first sight. That's the point of the song playing. It's not. It doesn't matter if the song is appropriate during the 70s. It's just there to inform you that Sam is falling in love for Ginger in that scene. So I think the music works. It's just a very different soundtrack and has different songs that it doesn't inform you the time period you're in the film. It's more about the mood and the feelings of your characters in the scene. That's the important thing about the soundtrack here. So it's playing differently than what Goodfellas soundtrack is doing in that film. And you brought up one scene and what music that hits you. For a long time, for me, if you knew about this movie, it was always the end, with the song "House of Rising Sun," when we get that montage of the mafia people hitting the people that were associated to them, because they were worried that if they will probably spill to the authorities. Like, that was always the iconic scene from this movie that I always get from my friends. But there are that the music are pretty much you heard from other films or other Scorsese films. If you don't know, the Scorsese is like a big Rolling Stone fan. So every time you hear a Rolling Stone song here, it's because he's a big fan of that band. So,
well, it's not surprising when you think about his age and everything and whatnot, everything, that he would be a Rolling Stones fan. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, but either way, no, hey, I mean, I'll tell you right now, I love, I certainly love hard rock, without question. I do. I love classic rock. Where I'm from, in upstate New York, that's pretty much like At least back in the day, that was what was like the most popular, like, you know, radio stations and whatnot. In my area, upstate New York, was like classic rock stations. So guys, Andres, what do you think? Then you, Cyber. I'll give you a minute to think about it, Cyber. If you had to rate the three of them, De Niro, right, Pesci, and Sharon Stone overall for their performances, the film basically is a storyline centered around those three characters and how their scenes, right? They carry the film, right? Their trajectories and whatnot, and interactions with each other are intertwined. If you could, Andres, you know, no pressure, give me a rating on all three of them as far as how they did in this film, right? Not like, and I'm not saying individually. I'm talking about in this film, in the, you know, half and half, kind of individually, and then as a part of this movie, right? How would you have rated the three?
Okay, I guess I'll start with the three altogether. Could be 8 out of 10.
No. Individually, each how Pesci, give Pesci a rating, give De Niro a rating, give Sharon a rating.
That's it, right? Just give them each a rating. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Based on how you individually think that they performed in the film themselves, and then also 50% wise, I'd say balance it out along with how did they fit in the film with the other actors in it, you know, in the film.
Oh, that I can answer. They did well with the others. For individual, I mean, it's pretty obvious for me. Robert and Joe have a 9 out of 10. They're top notch. Where Sharon, I can give it like I guess a 7 out of 10. I'll say 8 out of 10.
Trying to be fair, because it sounds like you are like you want to give it a lower rating than that, but you just like you don't.
Yeah. It was because like she does a good job. It's just her character I don't like.
So in reality, then we're talking about more like a 6.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll just give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's fair. It's still low, but like what else you gonna do? But for Robert and Joe, it's 9 out of 10. They're great. They're top notch. So
I give I give what's her name? Fucking from Love and Thunder, that plays friggin' Jane or whatever, whatnot.
Natalie Portman.
Yeah, I give her a fucking a 1.75. Great job. You killed it. Cyber, my friend. Would you, sir, please give me some ratings on these three esteemed actors, whatever.
De Niro, I give a solid 10 out of 10 because he's Robert De Niro. I don't care what movie he's in. I love him. He is fantastic. He's always awesome. And I think he did a great job with his character. And he seemed very realistic and really, I felt the character's whole characterization in his performance. I thought he did a great job. Joe Pesci, I would give an 8 out of 10. So, in fact, there was a couple scenes that just some of the actions his character had that did just made me dislike him. So I give him 8 out of 10. Sharon Stone, I gave a 2 out of 10 because she just annoyed the hell out of me this whole entire film. The only reason I give her a 2 is because it's Sharon Stone, and there are some movies I do like her in, so I can't give her a complete 0 for this performance, but I'll give her a 2 for that. There were a few things in it that weren't too bad.
Yeah, give her a fucking 0. Why not just give her a 0? If you want to give her a 0, who gives a shit? What, are you worried that Mr. Incognito is gonna fucking come fucking bust us or whatever, whatnot from Twitter?
No, I just explained why I gave her a 2.
I know, I'm messing with you. No, you know what? I love it. I think anytime Andres that Cyber or anybody gives somebody a 2 or a movie, anything a 2 rating is a good thing. Right? I love it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. We explained it. It's no big deal.
No, but honestly, I had to do the ratings. I would probably go with a solid 9 on De Niro. I would probably go with probably like an 8.5 for Pesci, and then I'd give Sharon Stone probably a 7 or like a 7.5. or like 6.5, somewhere around that range. I mean, she wasn't horrible. You know what I mean? Like, again, her character sucks. Like, it's a wretched character. She's a slut, right? She's promiscuous. She cheats on her husband. You know what I'm saying? She uses her own child as like a fucking like hostage for like a pimp, or whatever, right? Like, because she's a drug addict. Fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not very. I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, her character sucks. I mean, she's basically the most unethical piece of garbage. She's even worse than than Pesci's character, almost, to some extent. At least he's just a fucking animal, But now, last kind of like, I guess you could say, serious question, Cyber. Did you think that the violence, or less like maybe lack of violence, lack of like actual Goodfellas, mobster trope films where they have more blood and there is more of that kind of type of action? Do you feel like, I felt like that was very conservative in this movie, right? Like that they really went out of, like Scorsese went out of his way to like really not convey he didn't want there to be a lot of when they did catch those grifters, those hustlers that were working above each other in the casino, and they pulped the dude's hand with the hammer and all that shit and whatnot. When they did stuff like that, they did it, right? Like, shit was violent as fuck, but it wasn't like, there wasn't lots of it, is my point. Do you think that detracted maybe from the film, that it would have added more if there would have been that, or anything else to add?
Consistency is always a important thing, no matter what it is in the film. The inconsistency in this film with the violence in this film was horrible. It absolutely made the film less enjoyable. If you're going to have a scene where you break some guy's hand and then the next scene you shoot people in the head and there's no blood, I'm sorry, that's just comical. I was laughing this whole freaking movie because of the inconsistency with the killing. I was like, and then you have a scene, a guy gets shot in the head and then he spews blood out of his mouth instead of his head. Like, what is this? Like, that was just poor. That was poor directing there on Martin Scorsese's part. I don't know what he was thinking. If he was thinking that he wanted to do less violence or whatever, fine, you can do that, but keep it consistent, because his inconsistency with the whole entire film was just made the film less enjoyable. Because if you're going to do an action film, you're going to have a gangster film, a drama film that's dealing with people that are in a business where people get killed, get maimed, get injured really bad. You want to have that in it because that's going to show and give you that demonstration of what this could lead to. And so when you have the inconsistencies with that, it does not make the film entertaining or enjoyable, and shows that doesn't really show, I think, professionalism completely down to the T when you're doing everything else so professional throughout the film, but you're not dealing with that particular thing. It's like if you were to make a horror film, and say the premise of the film is about zombies that eat flesh, and you had no zombies actually eating flesh, and so like you only have one scene where a zombie eats one person's brain, then the rest of the movie you don't have any of it. When the movie is called Flesh Eating Zombies Eating Brains or something like that, that to me, that would be like what this has brought to Casino when it comes to the violence of the film. It's like he didn't put enough effort into it, or he got so sidetracked with trying to keep it not so violent that he basically made himself very inconsistent. So that I was really kind of like annoyed by throughout this whole entire film, that inconsistency kept happening. But at the same time, like I said, it just made me laugh the whole freaking film whenever it happened. And I was like, this is like, what is this supposed to be, a comedy? Like, I'm literally laughing at this is supposed to be a comedy. But yeah, they need to have consistency when it comes to action sequences that deals with murder.
Andres, same question, sir. Now, you can or you can bounce off of Cyber. It's up to you. But basically, what did you think? I did feel like, I'm not saying this is again my opinion. I'm not sure other people would obviously might see things differently. I felt like maybe if they would have added a little bit more like action, shootout scene or something. I'm just throwing something out there. You know what I'm saying? Like just something else, you know, to kind of just like add more to the film to balance things out more at times. I'm not even saying to like ignite any kind of inject any energy or anything really. Just sort of change the pace and like add a little bit more grittiness to it and whatnot, to the narrative. That I felt like that was something that was lacking.
Yeah. I mean, so just looking at my notes, I think one of the issues with the inconsistent is the MPA. I think if you pay attention to the commentary for Scorsese for this film, the MPA, their first submission for this film was an NC-17, so they had to like re-edit probably certain action or how you say the violence that we see here to at least cut it to a rated R. So that's why the violence here is somewhat inconsistent. It's because the edit is not allowing to show you the full thing because it's probably they cut it out to get the R rating thing. So I so uh, I you know you have to be sort of sympathetic with Scorsese and his editor uh, to cut those scenes to get a R rating. So they at least did a good job of it, but they did not good. They did not do a good job of being consistent. So I'm not gonna fault some of that. I think the violins are pretty good in this film. Consistency is gonna be tough for people. Like not only they have to be consistent with the shots, but also the hair. Like it's not only the blood and violence they have to be consistent. It's like everything has to be consistent. So I don't know what they're gonna do if they have to get the radar thing. So the violence has to be somewhat inconsistent. So I think we have to talk about there's violence here that are way like extreme. Like come on, like Nikki over killing that person with the pan is like so brutal, or or the ending where like him and his brother Dominic gets beaten up by bats and then put in the hole is like very haunting. Like before.
It is, but there's not. But again, though, like there's very little of that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, they magnify it when there is violence. It's very obsessive. Like it's like really fucking like like sick, like raw fucking violence. But
yeah,
I mean,
but that's the point of the movie. That's what they're trying to get out of the violence. It's there for a reason. So.
That's actually my last question. Before I just open the floor up to both of you, just whatever, give me your final thoughts or whatever on the film. My last question would basically just be, Andres, what do you feel like the story that Scorsese wanted to deliver this film? What do you think it was? Like, what were people supposed to take out of this? Was it supposed to be something along the lines of a theme of, just what I guess being a part of this sort of dichotomy or lifestyle, or like living these type of unethical sort of lives leads to like what we saw unfold throughout the film, which ends up being like basically depressing as fuck, essentially. You know what I mean? Like do you feel like what to you, what was the theme of the film? What were we supposed to take out of it?
Well, I mean, if I don't know if you guys pay attention to posters, but when they use their taglines, it's very important. The tagline for this film is about no one stays at the top forever. So, and that's the point of this movie. You look at Sam, Ginger, and Nikki. They were at the top of power and excessive, and they thought they could, they can have this forever, but they didn't. Towards the end, they're not at the top of it anymore. That's the point of the film. You see them doing, of course, the mafia and these two people, running the show. All of them thought they're gonna run this show forever, but they didn't. They made a mistake, and guess what? They lose it towards the end. So that's the point of the film. So that's what Scorsese is trying to tell us. It's the same thing with Goodfellas. Like Goodfellas was about Henry, like he always wanted to be a gangster, right? But towards the end, he kind of rethinks himself that maybe he doesn't want to be a gangster anymore, and like the fact that he ratted out his true, like his father figure and his one best friend, it shows that he doesn't want to be part of that life anymore. So, and here is like they wanted all that power, and guess what? They were so ego, like they had their egos all over the place, and they just they lose it. So that's the point of the film. So I think it's very like deep, and you have to pay attention to that. Like, I mean, Nick could say himself, like we all had this, like we had everything, but then we fucked it up. That's the point of this film. They had everything, but then they fucked it up. So and that's a great theme of this film.
Okay, Cyberneticshark, same question to you, sir.
All right. So just to kind of go off again there of Andres there about what the hell were we talking about there? About the violence, the violent scene when he was explaining that in the commentary. They mentioned that because they originally got an NC-17. In that case, if you got an NC-17 with the violence you put into the film, to make it consistent, just take all the violence out or all the blood out and make it consistent. That's what I would have done if I was in Martin Scorsese's court there, so that at least it looked more cohesive throughout the entire film instead of having only a few scenes where there's blood or something like that to get that R rating. So, or either just keep the NC-17, because I still think a lot of people went and saw this even with just an NC-17 at the time.
They're actually going to try to slap an NC-17 on this fucking movie.
Because look at Showgirls. Look how popular Showgirls was, and that was NC-17 when it came out. So, I mean, I think that they could have gotten away with that because it is a gangster film. They could have marketed it that way. This is a gangster film. We want to show you true gangster. This is based on a true story. Now, that's one thing they didn't really focus on this film, that it's based on a true story because it's based off of that book. But that is based on the true story. So if they had marketed, I feel, as more of a based on true story telling, even though they changed the names of the characters and everything, but still it's telling the story of those characters, I feel that they could have gone away with the NC-17 and people would have still went and saw it. But if that's the case and you want to get that R rating, they should have just made it all clean throughout the whole entire film. Have the killings, but just don't show the gore or the blood to make it consistent. Because I think that just would have made it more cohesive throughout the whole entire film. Now, the other section of this, the question you posed, Mr. Jeff, there,
yes, sir.
About the film,
the premise, yes, sir. What do you think? What do you think? Scorsese typically, like, there's usually the story usually leads. There's something to be learned from it, or like, you you understand what I'm saying? Like, what do you feel like? The theme, or what were we supposed to feel that was conveyed to us?
To me, what I feel was conveyed to this film was to show that story. Because I remember, if I remember correctly, I've seen some documentaries, I've seen him Scorsese talk about this film before, saying that when he read the book, he wanted to tell the story of those two original guys, and that he wanted to show it in a way that was entertaining, but at the same time showed the real aspects of what happened. And so to me, I feel that his story was to tell the story of these two gangsters, Sam's character and Joe Pesci's character, because what happened to Joe Pesci in the movie really happened to that guy in 1986 in real life. Him and his brother were taken out by that mob gang and thrown into a ditch dead. And so I think he was trying to tell the story, but at the same time, he wanted to change the names in order to give anonymity to these gangsters that were really dealing with this in real life. And especially the gentleman that was still alive, that was the same character. So yeah, the premise of the film was about these two gangsters, their life, their legacy, and what they dealt with, with that casino during the 70s and the 80s.
Okay. Now, Cyber, if you'd like, final thoughts on the film, final thoughts on the review, before we go to plugs.
My final thoughts of the film. So overall, I think that it's a okay film. It's not my favorite. It's not the worst. It had good points. It had low points throughout the whole entire film. Like I was mentioning earlier, like I said, I feel there was definitely things they could have shaved off to give it a more shorter runtime. Because some movies that are 3 hours, they feel like 3 hours. Some feel like they're not 3 hours. This film definitely felt like it ran too long to tell this story that they needed to tell. And as me and Andres were talking about earlier in the studio, there was definitely areas that we feel they could have totally cut out and not even used in the film that would have made it even be still cohesive and didn't really need to do that. So overall, like I said, I think it was an okay film. I would give this film a 5 out of 10, and it gets a solid 5 simply the fact that it had such a great cast. De Niro, Pesci, Stone, Joe Bob Briggs, Kevin Pollak, Don Rickles, Frankie Valli. All these characters were such great people that I couldn't deny them some credibility for how good they did give to the film. And so I would give this film a 5, and overall an okay film. Not my favorite, not the greatest, but overall a okay film.
Okay, and thank you very much, Cyber, for bringing up the rating and whatnot, and putting that out of the way, getting that out of the way and whatnot and everything. Andre, sir, final thoughts. Your rating, sir?
Sure. So I'll give this a 10 out of 10 for me. Again, as I explained in the beginning, this was a personal film for me because it got me into Martin Scorsese film enthusiast. So this movie got me to really love him as a director and his films moving forward. Just like got me to watch Goodfellas, it got me to watch Departed, and his other films. Taxi Driver. So this movie was the start of my love of this director. That say, I think this movie is such an excellent, top-notch, just all-around beautiful film. Like, we haven't discussed the opening credits to Casino. That's such a great title sequence with all the Vegas lights. It's so amazing. The cinematography from Richard, the chef, Richard. Robert Richardson, a regular for Marty, as I say, moving forward. He's great cinematographer. The cinematography of this film is gorgeous. It's wonderful. The soundtrack is really great. The music from the composer by let's see. Oh, I don't have it here, but the editor by Thelma Skrifmerk. She's great editor. I thought the editing here was at least top notch to give you the least moving energetically with this 3 hour film. I agree with Cyber that they could easily cut certain things in this film that I did not care. As I mentioned for the Casino Gambling Commission license thing, you could easily cut that out. You don't need that. So I know everyone. This is not for everyone. It's not Goodfellas. It's a very character-driven film. It's not plot-driven like Goodfellas or some of his other films. But I like it. It's amazing. It's a great gangster film. Is it the top gangster film? Not really. I'm not gonna put it top. I'll definitely put it over. I could put Goodfellas over this film if we ever do like a gangster ranking or whatever. But yeah. So a 10 out of 10 for me. So for this film.
Okay, and that's fair. Again, you know what? We respect that on the MCU's Bleeding Edge. We always have, and we always will. We may bust balls and talk shit and whatnot and everything at the end of the day and disagree on certain things. But if you think it's a 10 and I think it's a 2, right? Then it is what it is, right? I mean, shit happens. Now, of course, I don't think the movie's a 2. I give it probably a solid 8.5, I think. Because I do think it is overrated now that I'm older and I'm 40 now and I'm watching it compared to when I was 16, right? Or 15 or whatever the fuck it was. Because I didn't watch it right when it came out. I watched it a couple years later. When I watched it, I thought it was great. But then again, back then, you kidding me? Sharon Stone was freaking some massive celebrity to me. You know what I mean? Like, Basic Instinct was like intense to watch when you're. Remember watching Basic Instinct when you're young? Jesus Christ, man, this shit's hardcore, dude. Sliver was actually, I think, was a better movie than Basic Instinct, to tell you the truth. Personally, but that's just me. But then again, I like Michael Douglas. But no, so basically, folks, that's it pretty much for the review. We're gonna do plugs, but we do have basically, let's see, Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, part 1 of a 3-part Andor season 1 breakdown and recap that I'm gonna be moderating, and I've got really good panels put together for all 3 parts. Hopefully, everybody will come through. Either way, I'll still have a good panel no matter what. But I've got some pretty good Star Wars fans lined up. I put a lot of work in for the recap, so hopefully people will enjoy it. Overall, on Monday, Andres and I are going to be talking about and planning our full plan, but we're going to do episode 2 of the MCU Bleeding Edge report, and basically do a review of The Walking Dead Dead City episode 3, and then discuss some DC casting and whatnot and everything, and see what's going on. I guess, the trailers and whatnot. It sounds like there's some stuff going on with Jonathan Majors right now, where he may be vindicated.
Yeah, recently I think there was more victims coming forward. His court doing is around August, so that's what's happening. It's
a witch hunt anyway. It really doesn't matter. I don't think it did anything. But either way, Wednesday next week, which I would believe would be the what, guys?
Secret Invasion episode 3.
Yeah, what is it? The 6th or the 5th?
5th.
Either way, the 5th. 9:35 p.m. Eastern, 6:05 p.m. Pacific. Secret Invasion episode 3. The series is going quick, and episode 2 was epic. And thanks to everybody out there. We did really well already, view-wise and whatnot. I saw today, I noticed that we did really good on that. Everybody that I talked to, John and Kendra, everybody were all really happy with the show and thought the discussion was really good and enjoyable and fun and whatnot. I thought it was too. So thank you to Cyberneticshark for such a great job moderating the show. Andres, thanks for killing it, man, and hanging in with us and whatnot. Being such a great ass fucking solid, participant on the panel. Hey, next Friday, folks. If I remember correctly, I believe we have UHF. So
Correct.
There you go. Yeah, UHF. There you go. Can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with UHF, baby. About time for some comedy. I can't wait.
UHF.
Right? We need some horror though. I realized that I was looking at our list and we don't have any horror films. So
I mean,
7 a horror.
Arachnophobia was horror.
Yeah, I was gonna say Arachnophobia is horror.
That's true. I didn't realize that. I thought. I guess it is. Yeah.
I mean, horror
Yeah,
comedy.
if you went to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video back in the day, it was in the horror section.
Well, yeah, you know what? Either way, I'm sure we'll make our way over in like the horror direction at some point here soon. But either way, folks, we really appreciate you. Please, as we throw over to plugs, I'm going to be doing some stuff currently in the next couple of days, putting some stuff out and whatnot, and for the first time actually advocating and putting out some gifts and some gift cards and some goodies and whatnot and everything, and some gear that I've had sitting around and whatnot and everything to give away. And basically it's all in support of these two gentlemen right here and their individual content that I'm about to plug right now. I'm going to start with Cyberneticshark first, of course, because Cyber always likes to go to Andres first, and I like to go last with him just to fuck with him. Right? And plus I can't wait. I'm loving this whole. Yeah. What's up, Kendra? Are you still there? Jeez, man. Does she have anything better to do? I'm just kidding. But anyways, I'm just kidding. But
he's always complaining how we have nobody in the comment section when somebody.
We love you now.
Shoo away.
Kendra knows that I love her. Oh, and by the way, Andres too. Thank you for backing me up the other day in the comment section when that gentleman Ryan was in there and whatnot and everything and mentioned it to show up. But anyway, Cyberneticshark is close to 1,000 subs. Andres is close to 1,000 subs, and basically, I'm going to be putting some stuff out there and whatnot, and we're going to be doing some I guess you could say giveaways in support of making sure that these two fine gentlemen reach that 1,000 sub mark as quickly as possible. Cyberneticshark is a long-time veteran, experienced, legitimate content creator that has more years in the game than I do times a bunch. Just like Andres and Cyber, sir, you are utterly the most wonderful co-host in the history of co-hosts.
I agree. I agree.
Yes. So if you enjoy my content, people out there, you can check me out under Cyberneticshark under YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much everywhere, Twitter. As you can see, I put up a couple mini reviews of the Mission Impossible, especially with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 coming out next month. I'll be doing a lot of shorts for those, all 6 of them leading up to Dead Reckoning. As you see there, I just put up my Expendables 4 trailer reaction, so go check that out. It's it's not the greatest trailer, but it's still very entertaining. You should definitely go check it out. But yeah, help me get to that amazing 1,000 mark, people. We're currently at 677, so let's keep getting those people to sub there, people. And yeah, you start subbing, you might get entered into a contest to get a free gift, people. So keep working it.
That's right, folks. I'm telling you, I've got some good shit. I've got Mandalorian posters. I've got cameras. Cyber's seen them. I've got a bunch of shit. I've been hoarding it. I've got stacks of gift cards. I've got Regal gift cards. I've got some other movie theater gift cards. I don't even know what the hell the name is. The Kendra's multitasking, which is always good. Andre's a pop culture guy, of course. Is also close to the 1,000 barrier that needs to be shattered on YouTube to like reach the upper echelon levels of the YouTube deal. So Andres, my friend,
Yeah,
what is going
sure.
on with your co-host these days?
Pretty good. We're just taking somewhat a little break. I mean, because we just went back to back watching movies. Awesome, like The Flash and The Blackening. So yeah, so I'm up to 778 subscribers. That was okay. So whatever, it's 778 subscribers. Thank you, everyone. Just hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. So yeah, so just today I just posted pretty much a Spider-Man discussion, a export from my other channel, to end this month on a very high note. Yeah, this month's been really fun. I've been working hard to get those reviews, so thank you. So yeah, next month will be huge. I got a couple planned in mind. So I'm gonna have a retrospective review on the Wolverine, the 2013 sequel to Origins Wolverine. Of course, that's the movie that James Mangold started before he would do Logan, the 2017 film. And then hopefully me and my friend co-host will probably do more podcasts on DC films. Maybe I'll have to talk to him about that. So yeah, so that's my plan. So yeah, and look at the playlist. I have all the playlists of my
Andres, is that an accurate amount? Is that how many times you've been on the bleeding edge?
I mean, what, 20 what?
20 times? That's it?
It's 20 videos. So I mean, as I appear, yeah. I've been here for 20 times.
Wow, Cyber, did you did you think it was right around 20? Were you surprised by that number? I thought it was more than that, actually. Okay, yeah, I figured it was like more. I thought it was like more like 22 or 23.
Yeah, I mean, check it out.
Time flies, baby. Time flies.
Exactly, time flies. So yeah, but I just want to thank everyone from the MCU Bleeding Edge just for helping me just to branch out my content. So yeah, here's my second channel, the DC Marvel Plus Talk. I just recently posted my Man of Steel retrospective / review. So yeah, and then tomorrow is gonna be New Year. So yeah, nothing much. So
there you go.
yeah.
And we appreciate you, Andres. You do a great job, brother. You're great in the panel. And hey, I'll tell you, honestly, you mentioned movies. Cyber, I was last night right before I went to bed, I was watching a live stream from some other creators and whatnot. We're live and whatnot, and talking about the new Indiana Jones film. And I haven't seen it, so I didn't sit and hang out and everything and whatnot. But I realized we watched a lot of fucking movies in the movie theater this month, man. in June. Holy shit, we did. We watched a lot of movies. For me, anyway. Like, holy crap! I mean, how many? I watched Guardians 3 times altogether because I ended up seeing it with my daughter, right after I'd already seen it twice.
Guardians was May though.
Was that May?
Yeah, that was May.
All right. Okay. So The Flash.
Yep. Spider-Man into Spider-Verse. Across Spider-Verse.
Fast 10. And then what else?
Fast 10 was last month too.
Was it really?
Yeah, May. End of May.
Oh, okay.
Transformers came out this month.
Oh, I didn't see Transformers.
Near that, I need to see that. I have to talk to my.
I've been to the theater every week this month.
That's good.
Well, you know what? Cyber, that's good. That is good, brother. I think that's very healthy. And hey, we need to support our theaters. I'll tell you right now. I try to, and I even pulled some bleeding edge, juice the other day at my Regal recently when I talked to a manager about something. I was like, I thought I'm sorry, but I tried my best up there and was working with them and whatnot. They were kind of fucking me around, and I was late for the movie already. It was for Fast 10. And I just straight told the manager, I was like, look, you need to understand something. I spend a lot of fucking money here at the theater. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, like, you have no idea how much I support you guys. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, whatnot. And like, at that point, they treated me better. But no, support your local theaters, everybody. Seriously. Shout out to all of you out there. We love all of you. God bless you. Please, have a safe and wonderful weekend. Hopefully you'll come join us for one of our shows next week. Hopefully you'll come see us review UHF next Friday. Hopefully Andres will never go back to his old Tinder profile picture with the metal face and shit and whatnot again or anytime soon, or not do it on the show or anytime or whatever. But who knows?
I
like it.
Folks, that was just from the Japanese Spider-Man TV show. That's not me.
Okay. Anyway,
I do have a guitar gun, so that's true.
There you go. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna start playing bass too. I reached out to Ryan Meir, and he gave me a good opinion and reference on what he gave me. He's like, this is the one I started with. So that's right, folks. True Knowledge to learn how to play bass. How about that shit? Cyber's like, I can't wait to watch that shit. It's gonna be a fucking funny as shit. Watching Jeff trying to fucking play a bass guitar. Anyways, folks, take care. Fandom, all you fandoms, you're the best. We'll see you next time. And peace. If I could even get to it, oh wait, I have no mouse, folks. You gotta work with me here a bit, So I apologize. My bad.
Holy shit! Let's just making McNuggets in my hand. I don't want to hear it.
It's 10:30 a.m. We don't serve chicken McNuggets at this time.
Yes, you do.
No, we don't.
Why not?
Just let a man breathe and just hush so my mind could just cease, so my mind don't erupt. At times I feel I can't get enough, but I sip a double cup and I spin a couple bucks.